Yes, bit of GTA news for you, and Drug Wars is now live. That's right, the GTA Online Winter Update is the next major release planned for Rockstar Games' incredibly popular sandbox title. Now, obviously, this is the next big expansion to the game that we've had since the Criminal Enterprises came out as well. Although we know Rockstar is hard at work at GTA 6, we still think they're going to keep us kind of good with some good content moving forward, and the winter update will be released between the 13th and the 15th of December this year. Now I'm joined now with James on the show. Thank you so much for joining me, James, once again.
Hi, glad I'm in. Snowed slightly.
It did so. It was a little bit testy. Have you tried walking on that ice outside? It's a bit difficult, isn't it?
Bit difficult.
We've all been skidding into the studio recently. It's been great fun. But tell us about this new GTA update. What's new, what we get in, and what's the vibes going to be?
So it's only been live a few hours.
Yeah.
So, but looking at kind of the community's response to it, it feels quite muted so far.
Okay, interesting.
I think Rockstar have generally been really good with their updates for GT Online. This one feels a little bit smaller than perhaps fans are used to in terms of the updates that they've normally been releasing. There's still new vehicles, there's, I think last I checked there's like one new weapon, but even that is kind of a contentious point in that it feels like there's not that much that's been released so far. The missions themselves, I think, are being done slightly differently. I think there's about 6 that I've noticed go out this morning, but from what I can tell, there's a second half of that that's going to be drip fed to the community over the coming months or like next month or 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels like a bit of a smaller update. Maybe we're starting to see Rockstar maybe take a slightly different approach to their DLC moving forward, because they've normally been these quite big expansions. This one feels quite smaller, especially having come off the back of the one in the summer, which was more about like, I don't know, not fixing, but just kind of overhauling some of the sort of legacy content that was in the game.
Yeah.
I think there was a bit of an expectation from fans that this update, as a result, would maybe be a lot of new content, and so far it seems quite small, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, this seems to have a bit of a Breaking Bad theme going on throughout this one. What do you think to the theme of the update?
I think it generally, there's nothing wrong with the theme of it. I guess it's just the amount of content that fans have, at least so far this morning, have seemed a little underwhelmed with.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the, I guess, the leaks and the kind of the rumours leading up until this point was pointing towards some sort of big new story expansion that would involve Michael DeSanta from the main campaign. That hasn't materialised, and I don't know if a combination of quite a smaller update, I guess, combined with not getting this, what would have been quite a big thing for the game, has probably just resulted in a kind of underwhelming, lukewarm reception from the fans, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, do you think it's going to be successful, or do you think, you know, it might? I mean, it's hard to tell when it's just literally gone live.
Yeah, I think that generally speaking, I think any update for GTA, I mean, considering how old this game is, I think any update is obviously welcome for the game. I think the main issue is more that just compared to some of the previous ones we've got, where there's like a new heist or like a new kind of sandbox to run around with in terms of the islands that they added a few updates back, like a year and a half ago or whatever it was. I guess it will be kind of reasonably well received from fans, because I'm sure that there will be new content and that pleases all of them. I think it's just that it just seems, at least for now, on a slightly smaller side. But maybe this is a reaction to kind of what Rockstar had to go through when they were developing the game through COVID. Maybe this year is just a bit of a slower one for the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it does vary, doesn't it? I mean, it's kind of one of those that you don't know how people are going to take stuff. And I suppose, especially after COVID as well, everyone's kind of going outside a little bit more as well. We're not kind of inside all the time at the moment to play these games either sometimes. Yeah,
and I guess maybe as more resources from Rockstar get obviously moved over to working on GTA 6, this might be just the eventual outcome that we see with GTA Online, in that the updates that they do add, we've noticed them becoming more infrequent compared to years ago, where they'd maybe put out 2 or 3. Now we definitely only get 2. Maybe the 2 that we're getting each year are just going to be a bit on the smaller side. Have to wait and see.
Well, that's it. I mean, Speaking of GTA 6, actually, James, like we have had a little sea of, so there's been some leak hints been littered through the GTA Online atmosphere, it seems to be. We've actually got one of the tweets here, and this says the Vice City Metro Mule art was added as a livery in the Arena Wars update. And the Vice City members 24 livery is for Vector, added in the Tuners update. Both unreleased in GTA Online, but both logos appear in GTA 6 leaks. So there must be more of these teasers. So look, the stuff's getting lit around the place, you know what I mean? So these two kind of logos have been popping up, seem to be pretty rife in seeing how this kind of goes. I mean, James, what are your kind of predictions for GTA 6? Do you think some of these are going to come to fruition?
It's hard to see how much of these leaks, I guess, we would, and even not necessarily leaks, but just sort of teasers, how many of them we'd necessarily see leading up to GTA 6. They've coming off the back of this year of a massive leak for the game where so much was kind of put on show in terms of like proper development builds of the game. I'm not sure how much Rockstar are going to be keen to hype up the game at this point. I think they'll probably want to be, especially next year, I think they'll probably be extra careful in wanting to kind of keep their cards close to their chest. That's normally how they operate anyway. And I'm sure they're probably not going to have been pleased with the leaks that we saw a few months ago. No. So, I don't know, I wouldn't pin my hopes on this being the start of like a waterfall of leaks.
Of just coming.
Yeah, I don't think that's Rockstar's approach. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. It might be that every now and again we get a little morsel of information like this one, but I wouldn't expect that to be a regular occurrence going into 2023.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that leaks kind of, like, you know, does it hinder, or do you think it actually adds to the success of a game? I suppose the kind of leak, if it leaks the story, it's a little bit of a hinder, I suppose, but if it kind of teases something quite exciting, then I suppose it could actually make the success go a little bit higher, I suppose. But
I guess, I think the thing is with GTA, with Grand Theft Auto games, or Rockstar games in general, it almost feels like they don't even need to try. It's that big a game that they don't need to go to the lengths that maybe other games need to do in terms of marketing it. They'll just release it and it will become a huge deal on its own steam. So yeah, I don't think they necessarily need to, they don't need to be doing these little things, I guess. It will build up its own momentum just from people almost wanting it to appear. So,
that's it. So, well, I mean, like, I think that's it, and I think people are going to be waiting around for it at some point. But sometimes you just have to avoid the leaks. If they're there, then you're just going to have to be like, oh, I'm just not going to look at them. That's the main thing.